projects that I'm really excited to introduce you today is Mark is working on something with the land registry. Mark, is that correct? Can you
Yeah,
just give
yeah.
us a bit of a sneak preview?
Indeed. Well, it's not a sneak preview. I'll give you a whole preview, which will be launched in a few weeks' time. In the next coming few weeks, to bypass and to remove globally the land registries of this planet, I've created a quantum logging system where people can log in under the Federal Postal Court system, their properties, their lands, so on and so forth, just similar to the land registry, but they log it in with us, the owner, to be able to safeguard it away from the chieftains of this planet. So I'll now start to elaborate what the consequences of that is to the land registries of the world. Each prospective country, take for example in Ireland or United States or Canada, all has its equivalent of what is known as land registry. These land registries register who is actually leasing or pretending to be owned by a particular individual. That would be a house or a farm or any one of these things is recorded in what is known as a land registry with the map plotted of the area and its location and who it's being rented by and who else has interests or charges on those houses or on those pieces of land. Now, when somebody registers their house on a sale or a buy or registers their farm, when you register something, you are essentially surrendering it to the land registry. In other words, you're giving them 100% jurisdiction as to what that land is for them to say how it can be used, what type of information they're going to share on it, and also to be the intermediate for those people that want to put charges onto your property. So essentially, what these people, when they put charges on these houses and farms, what essentially is happening is that they are bypassing the owner's ability to control their own contracts or their own correspondence and claims. And now the land registry is saying that, we're going to decide on your behalf. Full stop. That element has incredible demoralizing effects on the person that's actually worked all their lives, as it were, to buy that house, buy that land, buy that farm. Okay? They are essentially surrendering it. I'm going to bypass all that kind of nonsense. That's one. The second thing that people need to know is that when they register their land, the land is actually not owned by you, even though you think you've owned it, you've bought it outright. That includes houses that stand on the land as well. It's actually owned by what is known as the common law chieftain. The common law chieftain is essentially leasing that property to you, that piece of land, for 99 years. And that is why, as we've spoken before with Hugh and the Americas and all of these countries, even if you bought your house outright, it still lists you as a tenant. Now, to bypass this common law way of treating people as cattle and chattel, houses that you put cattle in, that's what the land registry is saying, that we are cattle, and that house is a farmhouse where they put us in until we're ready to reap. These are all farming terms for those people that are advanced enough to understand this. So what I have done on a global scale is I have taken the position of the land registry out. Those people all around the world, from Africa to America, Canada, Britain, whoever it is, anywhere in the world, when you come to me, we will turn it into quantum and we will put your land, your house, in safeguarding into our system of logging in quantum what the equivalent of the land registry is pretending to do. So the logging system will map and coordinate where your land is, okay, and put the titles in using the numbers that we have on a geographical location, on a global setting, so the entire world knows who's staying there, whose land that is, and who owns it with all the correct serial numbers so that it gives them full control to be able to conduct their affairs. And of course, we as the guardians to protect that happens on a global scale, that the man that says that he owns that and has proved it, that's his claim, we will protect it all the way to the end. That's how this system is being rolled out. Okay, and that website to be able to do that, that system, that bureaucratic mechanism will be rolled out in the next coming few weeks. The consequences of this is that the common law chieftains will no longer be able to practice common law slavery, treating human beings to give them illusion that they own their farm, give them the illusion that they own their own house. We're bypassing all that nonsense. And that is the job, that is the rightful job of the holder of the St. George's Cross, which is one of the oldest flags on this planet. The St. George's Cross is another word for a farmer's flag, because George means farmer. Okay, it means farmer, a person that works the land. The word peasant is a very noble expression. It means a person that knows and is able to work with the land. As the guidestones say, you know, be not a cancer on the earth, but live with harmony with nature, with the land. So what you become one with the land, and the land becomes one with you. And of course, no common law chieftain who works only in the puny mortgage sides, puny means of small stature, of non-stature, they cannot trespass into the world of fact, because their jurisdiction is only in the world of shadows, of misinformation, of fictitious conveyance of language, and all of those things that keep mankind in servitude. Okay, so the land registry on a global scale will be removed and replaced by the quantumization, which means that it cannot be trespassed along. The quantum language cannot be trespassed along, and therefore your lands, your houses cannot be trespassed along. Those particular things enables us to safeguard the entire planet for this new corona period under the St. George's Cross, with the St. George's Cross, I should say, under the grammar flag of correct sentence structure, which is a mathematical language. So nobody can ever lie in mathematics, because if you did, just like Al Capone, you go to prison, because he went to prison for what? Not for kidnapping, not for harassing people or protection rackets, but for keeping perfect bookkeeping. And not only that, when a person becomes a live life claimant, in other words, they have a live birth certificate of live birth, that too will also be logged as part of the land logging system, because you are of the land, you was made from the land itself. Okay, and the land registry also controls your birth certificate, not your live birth certificate, but your birth certificate, which you now know is floated and sold on as an instrument under the common law jurisdiction of what is known as slave and slave masters, what we call puny mortgages, puny judges, all part of the common law system. So I'm bringing all that to an end to celebrate and to say thank you to the Titans to bring in this brand new corona period. And because we now have access to the ability to become our own banker through the crypto infrastructure, okay, I'm not talking about cryptocurrency or the banks or Facebook and anything, but the public operating money system that works on double entry bookkeeping. Let me just recap. At the moment, it's very difficult for the general public to understand that the land registries of this world, whether they are administrated by the county courts or in this country by land registry, is that they're all run by the chieftains. And whatever you register, like your baby, yourself, your car, you don't own. That's why it always says that you are not the owner, but the keeper. A keeper is another word for a caretaker. Since they have never told you that you're a caretaker of the house or the land or the car, your car, you're a caretaker of your car, they also have the duty to pay us money for being caretakers. Since they have not paid us money for it, it's now under open to salvage, and therefore there are liens on the place. There are liens, and those liens are quantumized liens on the lands as well as the claims of the common law chieftains globally. So we're essentially putting liens on the common law chieftains not to be able to practice slavery under hood and wink. That means lying and cheating. I don't know how much of that I've said makes sense to you guys, but it would be really helpful for me, that is in the frame of mind that has been engineering this now for so many years, to be able to question me so that the general public understands what it is that I'm saying. So the more questions you can ask me, the more simpler the questions or the more complicated, I think that will give the general public a better idea of how much of a significant move this is, just as a significant move of the cryptocurrency, as in Bitcoin, as just as the significance of the Corona period. And of course, when I removed the ability for privateers to operate in common law jurisdiction, as well as the use of marks and reprisals.
Yeah, so I'm going to try and say this as you in a really simple way. So the property and the land and people are basically being taken from the fictional world into the factual world in a register.
That is correct. That is correct. But we understand register as being a what they call a puny word. It's a puny word.
Yeah.
Okay. It has no warmth in it. The words that will be used will be quantumized, and they will be all defined. One word, one meaning per sentence, and the words will be quantumized, and the sentences will be correct sentence structures. So as a result, 2 times 2 equals 4, and it won't equal anything else. And each individual out there in webinar land, when they come to me, okay, say, Mark, we want to log our lands, our houses, our live life claims, our live births with you, I will show you on a map, on a website, where they are, where the land is, okay, where the coordinates are, and where that particular live life claimant is as well. Okay, so there will be hundreds of thousands of people coming to me all over the world to have it logged in, so the common law chieftains will not trespass on it. Okay, for those people that don't understand what common law chieftains are, just do a quick search. It will take you 30 seconds. You will understand exactly what I'm talking about. What I'm saying to the folks in the world is, if you contact me, okay, I will be able to log your live life claim in, as in captain's log, which is a factual log of what is happening, okay, as well as your lands and your titles, removing them from any puny judge or any puny common law chieftain. Okay, that's what it means.
Wow, this is great news for the people who wants to make this factual, because we're really sick of the fiction registry and all the things that they do to, charge on that piece of land, including properties and stuff, land tax, property tax, everything. So this is really a big game changer, Mark.
Of course, I will publicize it on Sunday, this Sunday, which would be, I think, 28th of February. We also need to qualify that the people actually are there. So we need to qualify that they are who they say they are, and that they have some sort of time scale there, some sort of longevity. So we will be verifying and quantifying all of these sort of things. In other words, doing our due diligence. Yeah, there are due diligences to follow, okay? And if you get lying, oh, believe me, I will prosecute you. We are not persecutors. We don't persecute like the puny judges. We do prosecute, and prosecution we will do, okay? those people that think that these things are new, as it were, no, because this is the system, like the land registry did under Hood and Wink. This is how they did it a few hundred years ago. Okay, not even that. And previous to that, it was just run by the tribal chieftains that used to mark the boundaries until the post office turns up, which is federal, and then does all the logging system. And of course, they withheld vital information. Because of this withholding of information, when you make contract, you can't withhold information. And those individuals that when they make and write these contracts, these claims, as it were, if they don't tell you the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth per se, and if they're not in a mode of see no evil, think no evil, do no evil, they've violated contract already. And since it's written deliberately in a fictitious conveyancer language to steal people's claims, steal people's rights, that in itself is a violation. And contract violation, of course, is one of the largest violations of them all. And the Federal Postal Court system, under my leadership and under my program, as it were, are stopping and correcting now on a global scale to the common law chieftains of this world. You have lost your lands because they were never yours. You have lost all your claims because you never had any claims. Okay? And because you've been practicing vile and disgusting forms of contract, you have broken the very foundation of trust. And people that break the trust have no longer got any contract say, have any claims on anything. And that's what I have done and have been working for several years in perfecting. It is now perfected and will be rolled out in the next few weeks.
Excellent.
Look, there are many good people on this planet that do their very best to give you public market access. And yes, each common law chieftain says, well, I don't particularly want this type of videos to come into my cattle and chattel. Well, we're getting rid of all of that nonsense. The borders that these so-called chieftains can practice is going to become null and void. This is going to be an open public market forum, okay, where the Chinese can see the same things as the Russians, and the Russians can see the same things as Africans, and the Africans can see the same things as the people in Iceland. And the logging systems of their lands, their titles, because they themselves are land, okay, you're made out of land in maritime, and all of this can be logged in rather than you giving up your birth certificate to a de facto corporate government. Instead, you log it with the Federal Postal Court system that will safeguard it, okay, for the benefit of you, but you control it. You control your live life claim, your birth certificate, your land. Yes, of course, you're not going to go around violating, like putting in a 50-foot hole and contaminating the aquifer. No, you have to be correct in what you're doing. So we're going to end fracking, even though fracking has essentially been ended by the Titans when they dropped the price of oil, okay? And once you do that, their mining costs are so great, they can't extract the gas, as it were, or any oils from the land because it doesn't pay for itself. So the Titans that replaced the Olympians, which is also called the Committee of 300, have done a wonderful job for humanity. It is up to me as a Chief Federal Postal Court judge, as a plenipotentiary judge, to be able to make use of all of these things, all these wonderful gifts that have been given to us, and roll this out on a global scale. And that's how I operate, on a global scale.
So, Mark, what about when they want to sell their properties? How would the law be used for that?
Well, the seller and the buyer would come together and they would decide on what is what. And we would log that transaction in to say that the title has transferred to this person, who is also a live life claimant, and the sale has taken place. and therefore it gives double entry bookkeeping closure as to what that is. Okay? They don't, of course, need to say how much they sold it for. That's entirely up to the owner. But the fact that the sale has taken place and there has been a minimum of something, $1, €1, £1 of something, whether it's a postage stamp, $1 postage stamp, or whatever it is, that some value has taken place for the exchange of that land, which is a contracting word. You now have an offer, you have an acceptance, you have an exchange of value, and then you have the performance, okay, which are the 4 pillars of business. All that will be logged in real time in a language that nobody can trespass, especially the fiction. Okay,
Brilliant.
that's how that will work.
Sounds good.
I I got a question for you, Mark, about the titles. So some lands are not in the name of the people, the owner, but in some sort of trust name or something like that.
Yeah,
How would that
that
be
all
fixed and rectified?
exactly the same thing. First of all, if there is a trust position, there has to be a minimum of 3. Okay, if it's a conventional trust, if it's a trust position, in fact, then you are the trust position. You are the administrator of your own affairs. You are the beneficiary of your own affairs. And of course, it's just like the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost, because that's a trust position. It's just like the 3 elements of so-called government, the judiciary, the Senate, or the governors, or whatever it is in whichever country. In this country, in the UK, it's Lord, spiritual, and temporal. Lords being the House of Lords, the House of Commons, which is in Parliament, and of course the spiritual, which is the Church of England, or be it the Archbishop of Canterbury. Okay, if you chose 3 people to administer and help administer your affairs, because you might be a large organization, you can do that as well, but it be logged in by name, by location, as to who and what they are. So it's a public information broadcast. So nobody can trespass in the secret, because the
Wow.
land registries and things are still operating in secrecy. It's just like, let me
Wow.
recap again. If people don't understand it, if you design something that's not found in nature, it has the ability to be patented. When you take it to a patent office, you essentially have surrendered your entire invention to the patent office, and they will now take that. And sell it on to the highest bidder. And you can say nothing about it, because you have surrendered it and registered it to the land registry, just as the patent office, when you register it, you're surrendering it as intellectual property to the patent office. Okay, and anybody that understands patent laws will know that about 80% of patents are just replicas of people that made some original design, some original invention. Okay, and that's how this system works. We're bypassing all of that nonsense. So even if you had an invention, you can log it in. Okay, you can log it in with our system. All right, that's how that works.
So with the log, could wills be put on there as well?
Yes, we will safeguard wills as well, because if you want to make your heritage claim, then of course your offspring or the people that you wish to allocate will become the beneficiary of that. That's a really good question. So yes, that's exactly how that works. Okay, you will say who's going to benefit in what, how, what shares, and everybody, and that will all be listed. Okay, so the whole world can see it, and it's not going to be done in secrecy. And it's not inheritance, because what does inheritance means? It means no heritage. That's why the aristocracy create heritage societies. The poor people get inheritance, as in incompetent means no competent person. Remove the in, you have a competent person. So we control the language, we control the contracts, we control the geographical locations, we control the lands, the live life claims for the benefit of the human beings by empowering them to be able to conduct their own affairs. we are the lighthouses and the librarians of this world that will safeguard it under naval protection, okay, under naval safeguarding principles. Yeah.
So people who have gone through the mortgage elimination process would definitely qualify for the logging, the live lives and land and everything that is all based on factual, including what Judge Samantha has asked about wills and other things that is of value, because this is done on a geometrical level playing field that cannot be reaped, or the other puny judges or whoever the court that they are cannot touch this because it's a different higher level plane on a factual basis. Now those are still in the reaping and paying their monthly mortgages. Would you say that it would be a good idea to get your mortgage sorted and then get onto this log as well,
So
Mark?
what I would
How would you
say
say to
is
that?
contact me first, okay? And if I start to log in your houses in the location, long as we've qualified everything, and then you can start to eliminate those death pledges outside of those lands, buildings, because it's essentially you that has the death pledge, not the land, because they never sold the land to you and they never sold the property to you. It's actually they put the death pledge on you. We reverse it, saying, hey, we were caretakers, you need to pay us money now, that sort of stuff. But there are more advanced techniques which we can talk about at a later stage. But if they contact me, the easiest way to safeguard their properties, their interests, their live life claims themselves is to log it with me. Any criminal activity, then the federal postal court systems will pursue this for you to go to prison. Okay, we will put you in a FEMA camp, just as we're going to put these puny judges who have been masquerading as judges and police officers, as public safety officers, because there are consequences of masquerading, wearing uniforms, okay, pretending to be police officers and judges when you're not qualified to do so. There are consequences.
So I'm going to ask a question which I think someone from the general public will ask you, Mark. Can they put vehicles into this log?
At this stage, no, but the next stage, yes, because I need to find a way of cancelling out the DVLA's in this country ability for them to not to be able to control it. And what that means is that when you register your vehicle, you become the registered keeper, not the owner. Before you was the owner. So if it was, previously we could have done it, but at this stage, no. But I'll be cancelling out as DVLA as well. Okay. Or the, Department of Transport or Port Authority's ability to claim your car that you paid for as their own. That you cannot do anymore. Okay. So we'll be working on those sort of things. But at this stage, not cars, not lorries, and vehicles of that nature.
Yeah. So babies as well. So they're born with a they get a live life claim. And that's correct as well. Okay.
That is correct. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Mark, for that wonderful information. This is a game changer, and yes, do get in contact with Chief Full Colin, Mark, Kishon, Christopher, and thank you for your audience today. And creator speak to you. Goodbye now, folks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.